Hi there, my name's Scott Nicholson and I'm here to talk with you a little bit about Wits and Wagers. Now if you just got the game, gather your friends around the computer because over the next 10 minutes or so I'm going to show you how to play it and we'll actually play a sample round. If you haven't picked it up yet but you want to learn more about it, this show is a good one for you to watch. Either way, I welcome you to my show, Board Games with Scott. Hi there, welcome to Board Games with Scott. This is a regular video series where I take a board game and explain it and lightly review it. And my goal is to help you decide if you might want to purchase that game, or to help you understand how to play the game that you've already gotten. Wits and Wagers is a combination trivia, gambling party game designed by Dominic Crapuchettes. Put out by North Star Games, it's a game that will handle a large group of people. You can play it with just a handful of 3 or 4 people, or a room full of people in up to 7 teams. Now the goal of this particular show is to help you understand more about Wits and Wagers. So if you've got the game and you've got a group of friends around, gather them around the computer. We're all going to watch it together and actually get your copy of the game because we're going to play around to help you be on your way. And then there'll only be 6 more rounds until you finish the game and found out who is the most witty or the most wager-y. Anyway, let's open up this box and see what you get inside. So what do you get in the Wits and Wagers box? Well, you get a rule sheet with nice quick start rules on the front and some nice details in the middle, but you're not going to need this because, well, that's why I am here. You get a big board. The board is kind of like a big mouse pad, really. It's green. It looks kind of like a casino layout in Vegas, so that's fun. Every player gets a couple cubes, little wooden cubes in their color, and each player also gets a little placard, a little write-on, wipe-off placard. So it's always good to make sure each player has paper towels or napkins or something to wipe things off between rounds. Each player gets a little marker, and so these come with the game. And each player will also get some chips to bet with. You're going to start with 3 blue chips, each one worth 10 points, and 10 red chips, each one worth 5 points. And your job in the game is to make this stack as big as possible, because the winner is going to be the person who makes the most money by the end of the game. You also get a number of question cards, and each of these cards has 7 questions, and that's actually all you need for a game. So each card here represents one game you can play of Wits and Wagers. Now, actually, all the answers are numerical, and they're hard to remember. So you could continue playing because the answers are not things you're going to remember easily. One very nice feature is that the questions are on the front and the answers are on the back. So the person reading the questions can play as well. You'll just want to make sure that they keep the card flat on the table when they read it, so no one can see what the answer is on the back. Playing along at home, you're going to want to make sure everyone has the following things: a placard of their color, a little marker, the 2 wooden cubes of their color, a stack of chips, again 3 blue and 10 red chips, and a paper towel to wipe off the answer between turns. And that's it. There's one more thing you get in the game, and that's a timer, a 30-second timer. You're going to use this as a time limit for people to answer the questions, as well as using it as a time limit for people to place bets on the correct answers. So that's what you get in the box. Now let's talk about how all of this works together in the flow of play. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write your name on the top of your card, or your team's name. If you're working in a group, come up with a clever name right at the top of the card, and that's going to stay up there for the entire game. Now we're ready to start the first round of play. I'm going to ask a question, and that question is going to have a numerical answer. You're going to take your best guess. Now these questions are designed so that you probably won't know the answer. You're just going to have to take a guess. You're looking to come up with the closest answer you can without going over. That's your goal. So are you ready? Everyone get your pens ready. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to come up with the best answer that you can. You're going to have 30 seconds to come up with that answer. Here we go. How many elevators are there in the Empire State Building? How many elevators are there in the Empire State Building? Begin. Time's almost out. Write down your answer. And we're done. So that was 30 seconds, and so hopefully you've got your best guess. So everyone's finished guessing. Now you take all the placards and put them in numerical order from lowest to highest guess. So I'm going to do that now with mine. I've got a 60, I've got a 42, another 42. I guess we have some Douglas Adams fans out there. Scott said 30. We got Ken said 12. Kathy said 80. And Darwin said 5. So that's mine. And then what you do is you arrange them on the board. Now, if you have 7 different answers, you're going to put them in each of the 7 different columns. In my case, I have 2 answers that are the same. So if you have that happen, or if you have an even number of answers, you leave the middle column blank. So an odd number of answers, you're going to fill it in, starting with the middle column, going either way. With an even number, you'll leave the middle one blank. So I'll put the 42s together. So that's what you do if you get 2 people that guess the same. You just put those together on the same slot. So this is my setup. Yours is going to look different. Again, if you had 7 different answers, you'll fill them all up. If you only had 5 answers, then you'd have 1 in the middle and 2 here and 2 here. You start from the middle and fill out. But if you have an even number, you leave the middle one blank. Now what you have to do is you have to look at the answers. So we have one answer over here, which is the correct answer is smaller than all the given answers. So this is if you think the answer is less than 5, you would go here. We have 5, 12, 30, 42, 60, and 80. Now we're going to move on to the second phase. Now what's important about this is if you notice at the bottom of each column, there's a different payout. The answers that are close to the middle will pay out 1 to 1 if it's directly in the middle, 2 to 1 here, 3 to 1, and 4 to 1. And this one over here pays out 5 to 1. You're now allowed to make 2 bets of 5 or 1 bet of 10. So you're either going to bet with 2 red chips on 2 different answers or 1 blue chip on 1 answer, based upon which you think is correct. You may choose to bet on your own. You don't have to actually bet on any of them. It's up to you. But at this point, you're now going to have 30 seconds to place your bets on which you think is the closest answer without going over. So again, the question was, how many elevators there at the Empire State Building? Which of these is the closest without going over? So again, if you're playing at home, everyone needs to get their chips and their cubes. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a cube on your bet, like this, and put it on the answer that you're going to do. Of course, this is Scott's answer. Of course, you want to put all your money on Scott's answer because I'm sure he's right, but we'll see. So you have 30 seconds. Ready? Go! All right, now, I'm Scott, and I'm red, and so I think I'm probably right. So I'm going to go ahead and bet 10 on my own answer because I think I'm good. Someone else might know that Ian has actually been to the Empire State Building, and so they say, well, Ian might actually know the answer on this one, so they might actually bet on Ian. Now, the yellow player, Ian, might be clueless and say, I don't know. I put a really high answer. Maybe I'm wrong. So he may bet 2 red chips on 2 of the lower answers. You know, he might put one there and say, yeah, I think Scott's probably right. He's pretty confident. The green player says, well, I don't know. I'm just going to play the odds. So I'm going to put 2 on the biggest payouts, hoping that I get something good. And we're out of time. Let's see how it worked. All right. How many elevators are there in the Empire State Building? The correct answer is 73. 73 is the correct answer. Also, all the cards have a little fun fact on the back. In this case, in 1994, Elaine Spider-Man Robert climbed to the top of the building using just his bare hands and feet. Isn't that neat? Anyway, so now you look to see which is the closest without going over. Now, the without going over part is important. Note that 80 is closest, but it's over, so it doesn't count. So the winner on this is Ian with 60. This is the correct answer. The person who gets it right gets 10-point bonus right away, so Ian gets 10 points. Now you look to see who bet correctly, and you see the orange person bet a 10-point chip correctly on pays 3 to 1. That means orange gets their bet back and gets 3 more blue chips as well. So orange is going to get their 10 back and 3 blue chips as the payoff. Everyone else, just like in Vegas, loses all of their money. Time for the next round. Then you clear the board for the next round. You take your card back, you write off your brilliant answer, and you prepare for another one. And that's all there is to it. You're going to do this 7 times. Now, there's an extra twist that comes in the last round of play. In the 7th question, you may bet as much as you would like. It's sort of an all-in round. And so what happens generally in games is people bet throughout the 6 rounds, and then someone bets a whole bunch on some crazy answer in the last round and wins the game, and everyone says bad words. But that's okay. It's still fun. And that's really all you need to know for Wits and Wagers. Well, that's about it. Now you should be ready to go out and finish your game of Wits and Wagers, or if you haven't started it yet, go out and pick it up. I like this game a lot. I will give this game an A. I've played it with both people into gaming and people who are not so heavily into gaming, and it works across the board. It works with people who like the trivia aspect, but it also works with people who like the gambling aspect, because you can look at the ranges between the numbers, the odds, and actually play out what is the best bet in your head. It's a fun game. It's fast. It'll end in 20 to 30 minutes. So I do highly recommend this game. A great one to bring to your holiday gatherings and large group parties. So with that, I'll sign off. If you want to see more videos like this, I've got many more over at BoardGamesWithScott.com. And with that, I'm Scott Nicholson. Thank you much for joining me, and I'll see you in a future week. Bye-bye. So to get started, if you're playing along at home, you want to make sure each player has a placard, a marker, the 2 cubes, the 1 cube of their color.